Welcome to another episode of Real Eggs in the Sea. Today we've got a supplier special with Christian Ciraolo. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Adam.
And I know you're all over the place. Yeah, we'll come to that in a minute. But yeah, it's good to see you in the UK, bringing that tan back to that sunny in London. So for the people who don't know you, do you want to get a bit of a history about how you got into property, your early story, a quick fire of how you up to present day where you are now?
Cool. So started off as an agent in Westminster when I think just turned 17. For a big corporate agent, started my lettings career there as a negotiator. Um, Sort of learned everything about the industry. Yeah, themed high caliber clients, and Westminster was obviously a massive adjustment because I'd never been on such a big playing field. We had big players, and from there transitioned into a smaller agency in Enfield and worked there for a year, and then from there went on to run an inventory company for someone, and then from there sort of helped to sort of structurize that company, and then eventually moved into when I just turned 22, just set up Intent, and then I've been running that ever since. So yeah, and here we are today.
So there's obviously, so Intel is an inventory company, does, yeah, not just inventories though.
So our core business is inventories, and that's what Intent started out as. Obviously, as we've grown over the years and built strong relationships with people, we then been asked about all the other ancillary services, which then brought us into after year one to snagging, which again I had to get qualified for. I knew the industry really well from my previous experience in lettings and stuff. And obviously spent some time on sites and to really understand the whole building process and HBC standards and everything around that. We then looked snagging, so we ran intent inventories and intent snagging parallel to each other. Because inventories has always been our core business, I never wanted to dilute the strength of what our inventories business was. So I kept intent snagging quite separate to that. I've run that with different teams and sort of a slightly different strategy because although they're both inspection companies, they differ completely. Snagging is more building regs related standards. You've got to know your tolerances and what sort of materials you're working with. Whereas inventories is more um, sort of what you see, using your eyesight and sort of your instincts to put a report together. And then from there, the transition into now EPCs.
Yeah.
We're obviously quite big in the commercial space now, so we do a lot of scheduled dilapidations and a lot of scheduled condition reports. And then from that, we've now just recently ventured into cleaning. So we've kind of got quite a big ecosystem around us now. And next few years, I think we're going to venture into other parts of the market. But right now, we're really happy with the sort of the spectrum of offering we've got.
And location, obviously, originally was London, is his part of the world, the Hertfordshire.
Yes.
And where are you now?
So we're still very much London is our heart. It always will be. And we're still got so much to achieve in London alone. But now we're in obviously Hertfordshire, where I actually live. Essex, Kent, Surrey. We've been as far as Birmingham. And now we're national now launching in Manchester as well.
Oh,
So we're sort of targeting all the bigger cities in the UK, and we've got quite a big growth plan over the next few years. That I feel like Manchester and London and Birmingham all work quite nicely with each other. And given the sort of markets we work with, a lot of the new builds that we're dealing with, they don't differ too much. So we're able to now get a bit of a further reach and expand in territories.
and what about further afield?
So on the flip side of that, I've in the last 6 months just launched Intent Dubai, which has been in the works for I'd say around 30s, 14 months. Yep. It was always an ambition of mine to want to have a base there, not for lifestyle, but more for the strength of intent and to build a brand and to build our reach. The spearheads that I'm taking on Monad there is more driven towards the snagging side of business, because after years of being there for holiday stuff, I've also kept my ear to the ground and also looked at the property side of things whilst I've been there. And I realized that there's a massive need for our services out there because it's such a fast and ever changing marketplace. That the standards that we have in the UK are, really, really sought after, regarded quite highly. So now we've taken what we built in the UK and we've replicated that in Dubai now.
So that's decisive. Well,
Yeah, it is. So now I'm over in Dubai at the moment. I'm spearheading operations there, and I've got the team obviously here in Kieran running things here in the UK. And yeah, so far things are going really, really well. We've got good client base over in Dubai now. We're transacting In 6 months, we've transacted quite a lot of business, and we're starting to really build momentum now. So we've got, a 2-year plan to sort of really cement our name in the market, and it's definitely brought a lot of eyes back to UK business as well, and strengthened the brand across.
It's funny how that, like, sometimes this global network, the properties quite can they have it there. Yeah, and I know we've spoke a lot enough, and obviously know you for many. I think I've known you when you started producer. Yeah, in 7 years ago. Uh, when I last bought my last house, you did my snagger report for me, and you just told me off today because I've not got all the things fixed from the builder. But yeah, at least it's all been lofted, and so yeah, ongoing. But and yeah, I found that report eye-opening. Yeah, so I'll continue to recommend anyone buying new builds to make sure that they get a snagging survey done, because it is different, isn't it? Yeah, it definitely is. It's different to the inventory. They're quite different beasts, and I think one was about 100 pages long. Remember it? Yeah. So, and to the natural eye, there wasn't probably more than 10 pages.
Yeah, tells me for a lot of other. Yeah, I think that's where the difference in the two services really shows, because like you saw some stuff that we picked out on your report and sort of the groundwork, so the brickwork, whereas inventory doesn't account for that level of detail and the knowledge. So usually the research can get to snagging is quite different to any trees. And we usually, I feel like a knight in shining armor when I come in to do a snagging report, because we usually there to safeguard either developers, investors, or purchasers, and the value that it gives is just enormous.
A question I've got for you, like, do any developers usually, like, as in, the developers usually from the other side to make sure that they're handed over?
Yeah, they do. They do. That's it. We usually see as the enemy for obvious reasons, but over years, and I think COVID has been the biggest sort of shift, because it's become more expensive to build. Margins have gotten a lot tighter, and obviously even developers' workforces have shrunk quite a lot from all the stuff going on with the economy. So what we're finding now is that we're actually working in a partnership with developers now, more so mid to small size developers, because they're still trying to create a name for themselves, and they're all about the delivery of a really good product. So we're actually there as a more of a quality assurance party rather than.
Does that work in a way that where they're protecting themselves as their subcontractors as well? So that
It's uphill, because the likes of the bigger developers have got all their own internal parties doing stuff, whereas a small to mid has got a lot of external companies, and so they're bringing in you to do the flooring, the no company to do the groundworks. You want to make sure that every single party work in harmony, that you're getting a great product, and that obviously where they're building a reputation, their name, you don't always sell a product on that doesn't represent your company and your ethos well. So we're there to sort of tidy things up before it goes to someone like yourself who purchases it, and then you've got great experience, happy with the property, it's been snagged by a third party, and then happy ever after.
Well, that's what you do. Yeah, let's focus a bit more into how you do it, and Christian as the person, the entrepreneur, the man behind these spinnoids in the place. And I know we've spoken about mindset, and I know you haven't drunk alcohol for 2 years, and I know you're very into fitness, which is inspirational to see. What gives you that drive? You're 29 years old. I think you've got a very old head on the shoulders. And what drives you? What is Do you, if you got you look what are you trying to succeed? Get the thing.
Obviously I started my career out very early on, so I did go to university. I came straight out of sixth form and sort of threw myself into working life. So I haven't got the CV that some you go to university, got higher education offers. So I've had to learn a lot of what I've learned through real world experience, and just sort of learning outside of the office and reading podcasts and stuff. But that's opened my eyes to a lot of ways in which you can navigate the world and that's with business, and that experience is probably the biggest thing that's taught me most of what I am now. But the vision that I've got is I poured pretty much of my heart and soul into intent, and I'm really passionate about what I've built. I want to have a legacy that I'm proud of, and but don't know if you know much about my backstory, but my dad passed when he got to 41.
Yeah.
So I have that in the back of my mind about when I eventually get to 41, it's going to be quite a weird stage of my life, and I kind of have a ticking time where I'm thinking, you know what, I'd like to have achieved as much as I possibly can when I get to that age. More so, probably a subconscious thing, but I'm very fast paced in how I work.
You see, yeah, I didn't know that of you. I know you're some fun, yeah, families, uh, and that did cross my mind. Is that getting that drive? Do you want to succeed
Yeah, definitely.
early? Yeah, there's also but that is what you have succeeded before you start is amazing. And I can see that you are. You're a long way. 41 there.
Yeah.
I'm a lot closer to 41 than you are.
Also, what's the other time? Thank you very much.
But that's really interesting. So yeah, so you've used that as your
Yeah, definitely.
so I creative.
I was and building a legacy and like I said, I'm meant to get to sort of 31, 32 and look at what I've built and sort of think, I've really achieved quite a big milestone. And it's not been by any means the easiest of journeys. There's been a lot of ups and downs, sometimes more downs than ups. Yeah. But it's taught me a lot about myself. And then the move to Dubai has like really shaped me into a whole new beast, if you want to call it that. I've had to really dig a lot deeper than what I have here to build this company because I'm in a new territory. I've got, an amazing network of people and really good friends I've got there. But business there is not the same as business here. And building something from scratch, although I'm trading off of, reputation, but you're in London and I come here, really bright eyed, again, full of enthusiasm. It does take a lot to penetrate the market. It's taken, a good 3 or 4 months where it's tested me to the point I feel I'm not going to make a big mistake. Have I been off more than I can chew? Because, I think every person that has done a move like that, or used to open up a new office or a new territory.
Yeah, it's exciting, but also scary.
Yeah, definitely. And you put a lot into it. And, I didn't put my eggs into one basket, but I relocated to a new country. So I was pretty much all in on this. And it's nice to start seeing all the hard work that I put in. Not, it hasn't all happened all at once, but it's now starting to really
Take the dip, pay dividends. I was still get time to get a small in there, and you've been very open to how you were doing it, and it's all relationships, isn't it? It's all getting in the right place, getting the right rules, speaking to the right people, not being salesy, just making relationships. And I think you going to the University of Life from universities, you've learned all those skills along the way to those different roles. Speaking to people, I know it's the people you're connected with in Dubai now, and so that's not happened by chance, Christian. You've put yourself good, it's not this happened by chance, is it? You've made that happen, so you're sort of mapping out the future, aren't you? And I think a lot of people can learn from that in any different, this sort of, we touched on, unfortunately Stephen wasn't cook me here today, but we touched on the mindset of business and entrepreneurial, in this podcast quite a lot, and I think you're creating all those opportunities for yourself, because you've got to, haven't you? You've got to go out there and make those relationships, and it's your nature. I think your the way you are personable, people, people buy into that. I imagine that's really goes a long way with the types of businesses you're dealing with in Dubai. Is that right?
It is. I mean, Dubai is very people driven. So out there, this is my perception of business, but you could have the most amazing product, you could have the most amazing offering, you could have the best rates, it could be the golden egg.
Yeah.
But if the people you're working with don't buy into this person or the relationship isn't established enough, people won't be willing to sort of entertain it unless you come from recommendation or you're regarded highly in the industry or you've got that one-on-one relationship. So a lot of my business that I've done in Dubai has been through, meet people, going for coffees and just getting to know people in social environment. And I do really admire that because I feel like in London, I'm guilty of this being here as well. We're also, it's quite common just hide behind your emails or a Zoom call or on the phone of your brand. And that's, again, make you step in further of a comfort zone and just be out there, speak to people, just be an open person. And not every opportunity that I've gone to out there seeking great pinnacle with business or most amazing person. It's never been that for me here. I've been out there, and I think naturally just being, an easygoing, open person that just wants to meet people, relational, it just, naturally sort of morphs into a relationship that I never thought existed.
And law referrals, yes, those conversations, but just us speaking today sparked a couple of big connections. One could be in touch with a number of different areas, so it just shows you you get those conversations. And there you go. I think that's fantastic. Although we touched briefly before about manifestation, and obviously you've got this vision. Do you do you believe in manifestation? Do you believe in that mindset?
I do, and it's funny you said that earlier because I knew that you were very much into that, but I didn't realize how deeply you dive into it, and I love that you think in that way because it is so powerful. I'm quite as a person quite tough on myself, so I probably beat myself up more than I did praising myself for stuff.
But that's natural though for most entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think so. I see it quite a lot. I don't celebrate the milestones of the small wins as much as I probably should because when you try to build something, you don't pay attention to it. And then after you start this morning, and even when I went back to see my mum after 6 months of being away, and she was like, how are things going? I was obviously I speak to her a lot, but I was explaining it to more depth and showing her some pictures and what I've been up to. And she used to burst into tears. I said, Mum, why you always say that? And she said, oh, I can't believe how much you've done in such a short period of time. Like you've met. She's like, you should be proud of yourself. And I don't. It was at that point I was like, oh, actually, yeah, I've done.
Like somebody thinks that done other persons. Yeah. Well, they actually, but it's weird, isn't it? Although we play golf. Like,
Yeah.
you finish a round of golf and all you think about is that double bogey always, or that shot you fatted into the walls.
Yeah.
But you might have had 4 birdies, back to back, and like played the best balls of your life. But you're thinking about those bad things.
Yeah, I think it's just human nature. We're always more drawn to the negative, a bad comment or the bad review, rather than the 60 amazing things that have happened in that period. But I think it's just how wise as people we've got to try and.
Well, how do on those tough days, and you mentioned like there's been moments where you felt like, should you, I do apologise, I've got cold today, so I've coming down south some efforts.
We'll share the jams together.
How do you push through those tough days? How do you get it right? Come on, I've got to get out tomorrow and mix with your people. Or, obviously you've moved to another country, and not just recently, but building a business in your 20s. There's been ups and downs. I know you've had some ups and downs. You've been open enough to tell me. Running a business and employing people is tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what tools have you used to help you get through those tough moments, which the listeners might be able to take?
I think every setback or every problem that we faced has been more so in the last 3 years. I've really looked at this, but it's been more of a learning lesson. I'm thinking, well, if that's happened, there's got to be every action has a reactions, and vice versa. So, if it's been a setback, why is that? Was it the way that I worded something? Was it the way I came across? What did I say to trigger this action? Or was it something we didn't have internally that wasn't put in place? Was there a lack of structure that we should have really put together? And all the setbacks at the start, I was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. How am I going to deal with this? And you realize that as you probably many times that you can make it through it. Every bad email, every bad thing that happens, it's not the end of the world. The world just doesn't stop right there. You learn after it.
If you learn from it,
Yeah.
what can I do differently next time? Well, it's not about happy, it's that.
Yeah. And it just makes you tougher as a person to the point where I found my tolerance to stress and my tolerance to setbacks is far bigger than what it was a few years ago, because you learn so much in that journey. I feel like in battle scar, that one thing that might have killed you before is now just a scratch.
I think don't brush ourselves off. Yeah, it's very odd. We spoke a few years ago when we both got through quite a tough time in our businesses, and I think you do learn a lot, don't you? And I think there's a lot of good thing come out of those tough times, because you end up thinking, well, something else happens down the line. If you don't like it, you must do it stuff, brush it off, and think, we'll just change able and say we'll put this new process in place.
Yeah.
Or let's get that person or to outsource this, or
And that moment, Big Soap was for us probably like what we were scratching our heads and thinking, oh my gosh, what are we going to do?
yeah.
But like you said, fast forward, we both worked on things and changed how we both operate, and it's made us a lot more efficient, a lot stronger, and things like that seem like a distant memory.
Well, the thing is, this would really be easy. Everyone would do it. Not everyone. And I think as time goes on, you're 7 years into being a business owner, you get stronger and more tolerant to stress there. And the level of stress, different things stress you out. I think.
Yeah,
And to go along,
still not easy, but you find it's easier to carry on going than it was before. And when you kind of like it's like a glossary. When you've been through every single term and you've been through every single definition of stress and what difficulties happen in a business, you're like, okay, fine, I can overcome this. We've read this situation before. We know how to deal with it. We put things in place already. So that big thing that we think, oh, we're having to deal with it, we can now just
It's all progress, and it's a problem solving. Let's do it now. Let's try and error constantly.
Yeah, problem solve. Well, okay, yeah, what's the problem now? Okay, what move on? Yeah, let's make a solution for that problem, and then make sure that's left again.
I mean, you've been going a lot longer than me. I've learned loads from over the years, and even speaking to you, just hearing about what's going on is, I'm taking so much away from.
And I think collaboration here, sharing ideas, yeah, sort of podcasts. Like, yeah, me and you both listen to a lot of podcasts, and you pick up little things here and there that you and do. And so, what advice would you say to like, firms of Biscoff cards is obviously to help agents, entrepreneurs going out on their own. What advice, obviously you're in your 20s, for a young 20-year-old thinking I should go from the launch my own business, what do you think they should be doing before they do it?
So I'm probably going to segue more into what I'm doing with the Dubai side because that was really tough for me. I'm starting up again from an already established brand that essentially from scratch in a new domain. We had great contracts and stuff lined up, which has been helpful, but building from scratch was like, oh my god, I didn't realize how much I've bitten off, into startup life again. Obviously I'm down there with the tools that I've learned, but relating to starting up as an independent person or as an agent, the biggest thing that got me through it was just one day at a time. But because it gets overwhelming, like over the first 2 months, I thought to myself, I should have achieved more than I thought I had. But now what I'm achieving now is exactly what I was hoping I would achieve for the start.
They compound.
It compounds, and it didn't happen immediately, but it took 3 months of. There's a lot of podcasts to listen to. It's a really good phrase. It's like you never really see the rewards of what you're doing, and it's just a case of just keep going without any immediate expectation, any payback from what you're doing, knowing that you're not going to get immediate payback, but you still do it anyway, to the point where you put all the groundwork in, you make as much of it as possible, like almost down to the universe to just sort of
Don't see in yourself, and it will happen. Yeah.
And I found that you put all the work in, it will pay off if you do everything correctly and you keep going, which is one thing that I've had to turn myself lows, is just, you might think it's the worst thing in the world, it's really tough, just keep pushing through, because you will come out the other end, and put yourself out there, be vulnerable. The word that I used to myself with Dubai was just yes. Yes to everything. If it was a dinner, an event, or going out to a sports event, wherever it was, even if it was not my particular jam, just do it, because you don't know where things to take you. And that has been, over the years, even with Intent in the UK, has been something that's changed the way that we do business, because I've met some amazing people just from the most random.
That's really interesting.
No pressure. I just meet someone in a random place and having a laugh, and then eventually it's like, oh, what do you do? What do you do?
So coupled with yes, I love that. Yeah, but the focus on yes, and coupled with that, you also had a plan of what you want to be. You all put a detailed person, you've got a process, if you like, it's how the launch.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you've done some work before you've gone over there. Absolutely. You've got yourself a business plan, you've got yourself a strategy. That's what I'm going to do with my marketing side, how on the way connection. So I think that's a big factor for someone launcher as well. I think that yes, you've got to have that. Yes, inject yourself in the community. So if there's a community fair, go and talk to people. Have to share about what you're doing, what the business is doing. But just make connections. Have a coffee with someone, have an ice cream. Take your kids if you've got your kids. But having a plan, what you're doing with the marketing, your social media, the direct. I think there's lots of agents or lots of entrepreneurs who start a business and they haven't got that enough to have. And I look back when I started my business 20 years ago, I knew I was a hard, decent agent. I knew I had a lot of enthusiasm, passion, and I wanted to help people. And I had it all mapped out. Yes, your business plan changed, your way of plan changed. Back then, social media didn't even exist. So it's a degree, not in the world of business, really. So things do change all the way we spoke about. So, but I think from my point of view is that the reason why you're better success is you had that as two things. You pop that yes formula is part of your plan into like your connections.
Absolutely. Yeah, this like you said, going back to the planning side, I knew that to build what I want to build in Dubai requires me to be out there in front of people. And so I've had to adapt my method of business. Of course, marketing is really important, but so far we haven't poured any money to market it. It's all been organic. It's all been through connections and through obviously my network of people. And also I've in the last year, I've made it really important part of my day-to-day stuff is to make myself not the brands, because intent is intent. I'm just a part of it. But to cement myself in Dubai as the person that is renowned for snagging. We're renowned for this, and we've got years of experience in London and building off that momentum. So I said to myself this year, it's all about, LinkedIn. I've utilized.
I think what you built in this year is a huge amount. It's amazing, honestly, man. I think any agency watching and looking at what you've done on your LinkedIn, look back at like how you're people you're winning for, and in this country and in Dubai, of course. And I think you're too big. Yeah, that's your shop window. Isn't it? That was all free as well, isn't it? It's all free.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So you say you're putting money in starting, but you've got a plan around how you're marketing yourself as a brand, haven't you?
And what I found with that is that years ago, I'm sure like every pun that's in business, you dream of that point where people come to you and I say, "Oh, Adam, I'd really like to meet you, and let's do this together." And you think, "Oh God, when's that ever going to happen?" And now, after the last few years of really pushing our marketing and building the brand as well, I'm starting to get people come to me, and I'm starting to get people knocking on our door as Intent London and Dubai was amazing opportunities that we wouldn't have otherwise had before, because it was very much about wanting to build a very silent business and just lay off right under the radar, because that's really who I am as a person. I don't want to be singing and dancing and be out there, and I wanted to put our tone across in a way it wasn't too aggressive and too loud, because that's not what I'm like. No. So it was a bit more about showcasing what we're doing, because believe it or not, people actually do pay attention to what you do as a company. You bring on a £1 million house. I've seen that and I say, "Oh, man, this is amazing. Look at where you presented it." People do pay attention to it, and it's just putting that message across in the right tone.
I think what you're finding at the moment as well is, I'm sure there have been scenarios in the last year where someone's reached out to you from the LinkedIn content
Yes, definitely.
and using it in none of the watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that actually shows you. So you could have even up after 2 or 3 months, couldn't you? You could have posted make it.
I'm not getting anything from this. And I think that's a typical old-fashioned way of doing marketing. But nowadays you've got to be a bit longer, haven't you?
You have to be, and you've got to, I think, as you said before about planning, I knew what I wanted Intent to buy from the end goal. So I knew what it wanted to look like before I even got out there. I knew what Intent to buy was looking 5 or 10 years time at the end goal, when it's reached this whatever level it gets to. And then I just worked backwards and thought, how am I going to do this? So how do I want the brand to be perceived? Okay, I want to see it this way. How do I want myself to be perceived along with the brand in this way? And then I basically just worked backwards on, okay, fine, we're not at that stage, but we're going to sort of put ourselves at this level as if we are sort of not fake to make it, because I don't think it's the right way of doing things, but more aspirational, more of a standard already, so that we just carry on building on that base level that we've set ourselves. And it's brought a lot more attention to my and the company's pays as well, and it's free. It's just,
And I think it's energy. Having that clear vision yourself as a business owner, where you're talking to a potential client or someone who could refer you out there or within the UK, when you ask questions, I think that gives you the knowledge to answer. Where do you think what company's going? Yeah. Well, you haven't got that plan. You can't really. You are going to fake it to, aren't you? Yeah. Actually,
where people will see straight through that.
yeah, because that's what. Yeah. Whereas I've asked you to stay here. Like, it's so like I've got a plan for this, what to do. And I think when you're having those conversations, people. Oh yeah. If I was building a huge complex of apartments now in Dubai, there's a lot, by the way. But if I was, I'd be like, there's only one person I'll come to, because you're on the ball, and you know where you want to go, and I think that you buy into that. So, and I think the answer to my question was like, yes, so the younger people setting out. I think that you've answered it perfectly. I think confidence as well. Plan, confidence. Tweak your plan as go along. Maybe
Absolutely, yeah.
but you've got that in going on.
Yeah, confidence is probably the biggest part of it. Being so confident in what I'm building in Dubai is what I think has helped me reach some of the small milestones you've reached so far, because I'm completely bought into it, obviously. Like, you have to be, like, if you're starting out, you've got to be 100% sold on it. You have to give yourself a year or 2 years to make whatever you're setting out to achieve work. And in that time, every single day and month is time of that calendar.
So if I looked at you and how you're launching a new business, and if you was an Asian launching in a town in Berkshire, I would look at about you've had a plan of what you want to achieve. University goes, you know, not going to get quick success and sell 10 hours a month, but you're just going to go and get to know as many people in your community. So you're going to be at the mezzanine, you're going to be at the football club goes, you're going to be talking, and you're going to say yes to a thing. Would you see something advertised on social media and they go to it, and you're going to make connections. But while you're doing that, from pumping stuff out on your social medias, which is all free. Because if I look at you, wasn't it? You're not pumping tens of thousands of market to marketing, paying to go to loads of different things. You're going to social events. You're going to industry related events in secret rap place, in a rap place. So for a young agent, be inspo for that. You could quite easily plug what you're doing into. Absolutely. Yeah, I think get knowing the communities, go hyper local. Yeah. Go to the right places, speak to the right people, don't expect anything straight away.
Yeah.
And then but be very consistent in your marketing and know that you sow those seeds, and then all of a sudden you might have someone you spoke to at a summer fair a year ago recommends you, and they've got 20 apartments to sell or 20 houses. So and small seeds can grow big trees, won't they?
I mean, touching on that, a big thing I do is I'm very reactive, and Rabbi's taught me to even sharper.
Really?
Because it's such an intense, fast market that I've got to be completely dialed into it.
Speedily.
Yeah, you do. And I scour, events, LinkedIn. I'm always on social media, Instagram. I'm always looking stuff, and that I've got one long-term vision for what we're achieving in Dubai. But there was an event that happened, and there was somebody that I was wanting to meet and speak to that I've been trying to get through to ages. Someone that is so high up in a company that I knew was taking ages to reach without contact or without me working away to get to them. So I stalked them in inverted commas, and I found they were speaking about this private events. So I thought, do you know what? It's a really private event in Dubai. It's going to be a long shot. Put my name forwards for a ticket. Got a reply. Got into the event. I was like, brilliant. Okay, so I prepared everything. I was thinking, right, this guy is the only reason I'm going to say. Obviously, it's property related, so I'm sure I'll be some amazing people to have, and they've become really good friends. But this guy was there, so I sat there, watched him speak, and an amazing speaker for the Dubai Land Department, which is government, and I was blown away by him. Just like I thought I was enthusiastic before, but when listening to him, I thought I could go and lead an army into battle.
Yeah.
And then I was waiting to speak to me after he left. I thought, oh my God, just that's the opportunity to speak to him. So I'd gone there and he left early. I think, oh goodness. So I thought, right, this is not over. I'm going to get a meeting with him. So then found his PA and got his email. And I spent 2 days with a bit of help from ChatGPT, but really putting together the most perfect sort of catchy email to get attention. Within 24 hours, I got a reply back. We're going to meet you tomorrow. I was like, oh my God. So if my dropped my diary completely, I've sat in front of government. That's because of one of the heads of housing. And that happened just through, being reactive, keeping my eyes open, looking at opportunities, and then figuring out what I need to do to get to the right places. And it didn't cost me anything apart from time and a bit of stress. And now it's led on to so many amazing things over there. But I've had opportunities like that happen here. You just have to.
But that email you sent, was that, you obviously led with, I saw you speaking.
But it was more, that email was not even about what I'm looking to achieve.
Yeah.
I was so in awe of this man I've spoken to that I just spoke about his speech and how like enthusiastic I was after having spoken to him. Just the fact that, I've got an amazing proposal I'd love to put forward to him, but more so that I just like to meet him and just listen to him speak and get to know him a bit better. And he was just really courteous and really open to speaking to me, which I was really touched by. And then it's led into more meetings and so on to go from there. But that can happen in any industry, any business. And I was telling my team here about it. I was like, oh my God, I've got a meeting with this guy. And they were like, how have you managed that? And I said, just don't ask. It's taken me a lot of energy. But for a starting agent back, there is opportunities everywhere. Doesn't matter what industry you're in as an agent but starting out. Being reactive is so important because there's opportunities where others might not deliver.
Yeah.
And there's always can be someone that's there to take
So communication, speed.
Anyway, speed, be on the end of the phone. So in London, we've got a really strong team, but we have different roles in the business like most companies do. But one of them is collaborations.
Well,
And it's so important for us to keep our relationships more than anything. I cried that more in the work itself. Of course, that's so important. But if you have strong relationships, you can overcome adversities, challenges. You can what
there's
with
always bites together. So there's always things to go wrong. Yeah, it's got the relationship. They should
yeah,
also come that.
absolutely. But then from that relationship, you're able to get feedback and make the operations on both sides stronger to create better end result. Um, and those relationships have brought on other opportunities, and doing things the right way as we do has brought us to levels that I didn't know we could reach. And that is just from, keeping relationship really strong with people, whether it's someone in the high street that deals in mortgages, or someone that deals in developments, whoever it is, keep the relationship strong and nurture it. Whether it's not immediate, it's over a 2 or 3 year period. Just people buy to people.
So that's yeah, you do. I think that's fantastic advice, by the way. But you obviously know a lot of agents.
Yeah.
A lot of agents in various different roles, companies all around the country. Yeah. Where do you see, you know, them the ones that see what they do different is the ones that could be are succeeding as well. Is it that relationship? Is it that, community focused? Do you think?
Yeah, relationships so important, and I think every age you probably show how strong relationships are, but it's also the details around a relationship. For example, I know you really well, so I know, like me, you share the interests of golf.
Yeah.
Trainers, obviously.
Yeah.
And then football and property.
Yeah.
There's a lot to build in there.
Yeah. Yes.
And you got to find touch points with every single person to build that relationship, and you just build foundation upon foundations. You get to know people's birthdays, you get to know their interests. If someone succeeds at something, or there's a bereavement or something, just extend your condolences. It's not about business, it's about getting to know that person. And in our industry, where yes, it is so big, but it's also really, really small, people talk and people move around a lot. So if you was to move into Manchester or another part of the country, I know that because of how strong our relationship is, we can naturally travel with you.
Yeah.
And there's opportunities there, and you open up in another company or somewhere else. So there's always opportunity to open with people, and property is about dealing with people, not with numbers, unfortunately.
I think agents in general and agency in the UK has become quite reactive. And what you'd be talking about is a lot of the stuff you're doing to launch your business is very proactive. So you're making those calls, you're making those emails out. I think that's where I think, looks at any business, you've got to, what's expect a business going to use that when you could do that kind of background. That's like the concept marketing and that big Gary Vee stuff, and that book, that's a long-term play, isn't it?
Cool.
But you've got to go and get yourself out there, so into the marketplace. And so to finish up, Christian, so you've mentioned 2 dates, so you're 29 now. There's I wish I was 29, but
I feel like older.
31, and you touched on your late father. When you're 41,
Yes.
where's Christian look like, and where does intent look like when you're 31, and then where's it look like when you're 41, and also where's the world of property with the AI? Yeah, we're going to throw in another question at the end.
Yeah.
We have to talk about AI today quite a lot. We'll be sharing a bit. Where does the world of property look like with AI at the end of it? When you're 41, which is obviously 12 years away.
Right. Well, I'll just start on the AI mode, because we spoke a lot about that. You've given me some massive insights into some tools that you've utilized. I think it's going to take a lot of the muscle work out of either prospecting or trying to find, like I did the email, I did it the old school way, but it will take out the work needed to do that. It will shorten time frame to achieve whether it's your goals or your milestones. You can use AI a lot to filter through contacts, to help outreach, to build proposals, to set up I don't know, plans. If you've got a client that's asked you a question, you can give them more advice than what you normally could as Adam, Christian. As well as that, it's fantastic marketing. You can create a lot of fantastic imagery, a lot of graphics. Again, it costs a fraction of what you'd need to bring a whole team in to do that. You can be a 5-man team just as added with the use of AI. And on our side, we're building the final bits of Extent app, which is our reporting system. We're actually bringing AI into it as well. So on our side, it's going to streamline the whole process of tech to build reports. If we need AI to help draw out defects, whilst we're programming all the information, we take a photo of an issue, highlights and know exactly what that is. It's going to still produce the same amazing document, the same level of detail, but it takes, 30 or 40 seconds less to fill that information, which over the size of a report actually compounds to, half an hour or 40 minutes it takes to just produce that document.
That frees up someone to build a relationship with a client.
Absolutely buys you break. At the end of the day, time is so important to everyone. Doesn't matter who you are. Everyone has got, a time frame, and you can achieve a lot more with help without relying on other people to help you achieve those same outcomes.
So that's a great insight, sir. Yeah, that's it. If you in 12 years, you think how fast AI has changed in the last 6 months. Whether it be 12 years,
Got us scared. Can we have an Adam 2.0 set next year?
yeah.
Ready a code back?
All about it.
So, legacy-wise, what legacy are you going to be leaving in? I think 2 years 2-year plan. Then
Yeah.
what legacy do?
I mean, having launched into a new market and a new part of the world has opened my eyes up to other opportunities across the globe now. Yeah, and of course, I'd be lying if I said I want Intent to be a globally recognized brand, which is why I didn't call it Christian Ciraolo Limited or something like that, because I want it to be its own entity. It's got potential to go into Saudi Arabia, which is a market I really want to start to look at, and we do bits and pieces across the other parts of the Emirates as well. The US has always been a market I've admired a lot, and UAG, it's an absolute beast compared to other parts of the world. I'd love to be able to take a challenge on and put in touch with the US. And then after that, it's hard to know. I mean, I don't think I could ever stop working, because as much as I hate the stress, I love what I do, and I love the challenge, and I love building something, and I'll probably end up opening up gyms or something like it's a passion project.
It's in Jews. I watch his space.
I don't know if it would be Intent gyms, on the thing for both or the brands, but a gym would definitely be something I'd love to do in the future, as something health related, because I'm into my fitness and well-being. So that would be a long-term plan, but right now it's take Intent global, and we've got a long way to go, but I'd not to have Intent worldwide, really.
There you go. Watch this space. So they're happening. But looking forward to watch that journey over the next 12 years. So thanks, Sam. And thank you very much for jumping on.
I think
As a kick specialist, you'd see you. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks, Sam.